on this.
Selecting everything.
Right?
It doesn't want to go up on
How
the
about we put
stage.
Annabelle on the end seat?
Okay.
Is it there? Alexander, is it there?
Alright, Annie. See, can you make it on your own?
Hello. Hey, we're doing it.
Then so I can pack her. Oh my goodness. Funny story.
She's posable.
What?
Posable.
Opposable. I almost had to take her out of my carry-on
Oh.
because they were like, no carry-ons overhead. And I was like, I literally had to go up to the flight attendant and be like, so I don't think that you want me to take her out because I don't want people to be like, I want to get off this plane. that was
When you put that carry-on through security,
Yeah.
do people ever does TSA ever wonder what's in there? Like they think it's a kid or something?
This is my first time traveling with her. So I
Exciting.
it was great. Exciting. They kind of gave me some looks, I think. But what was weird was that I had her in a bag that's like, it's not very sturdy,
Right.
and so you could see the form of a head at the end. And there was like one lady who I sat next to, and she kind of looked at me like,
There's a child in that bag.
yeah, but could have been worse.
I look forward to the stories in future cons of the looks and questions you get.
Me too.
Okay, so guys, welcome to Days of the Dead. So great to have you here. Thank you for joining us tonight. As I said, we're a small but mighty crowd here because we all want to talk to you. First off, I'm going to kick this off by talking to each of you about things that are not Annabelle related, all right?
Excellent.
All right.
Okay.
A little bit. I want stories. I want whatever you want to share, okay?
Okay.
American Horror Story. OMG. What the icon of the series was you.
So yeah, I played two characters on that season of American Horror Story. I played the Mattress Man, who's in the very first episode, and I played the Addiction Demon, who's around. That was an interesting thing to do. It was very early in my career. It was, I think, the second thing I ever worked on, and I was very surprised to find out what I was going to be doing, because I had a friend who worked in the effects shop that was making all the appliances and everything. So they called me and they were like, "Hey man, I'm in the shop. I'm working on this thing for you. We're building this." And they described the Addiction Demon, and I was like, "No, you're not. That's not a real thing that I'm doing." So I show up to set and we shoot the Mattress Man. I was like, "That's the thing I was doing." And then they go, "You're still doing the other thing, right?" And I was like, "Oh, sure, yeah." But no, they were both great characters, and I really loved being on the show. Everybody was great. It was a weird thing to do. I was like 25, and I was just starting, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll hang out with Kathy Bates. That's fine." But yeah, no, it was great. It was very fun.
What were some of your biggest challenges on playing Mattress Man? It's such a memorable scene. It opens the show.
It does. It was. I was hanging out under a bed all day.
No,
I didn't. It's not surprisingly comfortable under there. But no, it was very funny. Such is my life. Those two gorgeous people who were in that scene. Yeah. I met them in Mattress Man makeup. So they were all getting ready to do the scene. I finished makeup. I come to set and they're like, "All right, just go right in. We're gonna shoot." I walk in the room and they both look at me and go, "Ew." And I was like, "Cool, nice to meet you."
That's
Like,
how you know
that
it's
makes
good,
me feel
though.
really good about myself. I appreciate that.
That's how you know it's going to be
Like
good.
wearing braces or whatever.
And
Just
you
like-
made an impression.
I did. I made an impression.
You know?
I never spoke to any of them ever again.
Oh my God.
Oh boy.
You are also in a movie I actually own on DVD.
Which movie?
Well, I do too. My physical media obsession is kind of out of control. It's a problem. It's been, collecting for maybe 25 years, so it's kind of an issue. Got no space. All the creatures were stirring.
Oh yeah.
I have a big box of Christmas movies.
I love it.
Hallmark, horror, the classics, the whole bit. I have that one. Tell me about that.
So that movie, that was fun. So Rebecca McKendry is wonderful, and her husband's amazing, who I can't remember his name at the moment. I feel terrible. But I met them doing a horror trivia night in Burbank, in LA, and like that's where I met them. And then they were like, "Oh, you're the guy who did American Horror Story and all this stuff. We're doing a movie. Do you want to do it?" I was like, "Yeah." So that's how they just were like, "Come do the movie." So they explained the all black creature and the whole thing, and I was like, "Great." And then they were like, "Also, would you want to do this other part that's like you reenacting all the movies on a stage?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do that." So I'm also this like reenactor in the in-between parts. I'm like picking up this big fake reindeer, pretending to gore someone with it. It was very silly and weird. It was a lot of fun. But no, that was great. That was a long time ago. But no, I had a blast working on that. That was very fun.
That movie's just chock full of horror cameos.
It is.
Larry Zerner from Friday the 13th Part 3
Shelley!
walks through a scene holding a mop or something,
Yeah.
and I became that Leonardo DiCaprio meme, you know?
Yeah.
I pulled it up right in bed to my husband. I'm like, "That's Larry Zerner." He's like, "How do you know that, you freak?" Because he didn't say anything. He just like walked through the scene, and the whole movie's like that.
Yeah, no,
Right?
it was great. It was all just like random cameos and just like we were like, "Oh, we're shooting this vignette tonight. We're doing the thing," and then like it was just one day of all of us. We were sitting in this little theater, and they would just describe the movie that has just happened. They'd be like, "Yeah, this happened," and then they'd be like, "Okay, do we want to like, pick up this reindeer?" Like it was just really weird. It was very fun.
Oh my God. All right. Moving on to you, my lovely friend.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Nice to meet you. Or see you again.
Hello.
Yes.
Nice
You
to
again?
see you.
We can't meet you again.
So aside from Annabelle, obviously, you have had some guest spots on some pretty amazing shows. This Is Us is one.
Hell
Yeah.
Can we
that was cool.
can we talk about that?
Yeah.
Let's
that
hear
was-
it.
Yeah, it was so much fun. Oh gosh, to be on This Is Us was really cool. And then I got to have an Argentinian accent, which I'm Argentine. That was a challenge. Yeah, it was really fun. I had my aunt, who is not an actress at all, record all my lines because she's got a thick accent. Yeah, because I wanted it to be as authentic as possible. And so that was really neat to get to play those first. And just working. I mean, I didn't get to work with a lot of the main cast. 'Cause,
Aw.
like, I know, it was a bummer.
That is a bummer.
But it
Reshoot
was
the
still.
episode.
You what?
So reshoot the episode.
Yeah. Right. Even though my character's in a different time period, let's
Yeah.
make it happen. But yeah, no, that was a blast. And just also it was like the story of essentially how we got
How we got to us.
how we got to be human. No, how we got technology for Zoom and FaceTime and things like that. And so it was like a whole COVID episode about that. And my husband in the show helped create that technology, which was neat. But yeah,
When you had the audition for that, did you have to do the accent?
I did. I was actually.
Was this before you perfected it, or did you perfect it for the audition?
It was decent at that point. It was pretty good, but it was not nearly as good as it got. But yeah, no, I had a little bit of practice in doing that accent prior.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Also, you did Supernatural? Can you
Yeah.
talk about that?
Yeah, of course. That was so much fun to film. It was in Canada. It was I think one of the biggest things I'd done at the time, and then going into something with such a huge fandom was like people.
So you would know about that,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
I don't know what you mean.
American Horror Story, hello.
Come on now. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy walking into that world.
Yeah, no one watches that little show.
No, what is that?
Never heard of it.
All the creatures restoring what is all about. We all know that.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got to watch that.
So
I
fun.
will watch now. But yeah, no, that was really fun. And then I feel like the whole cast was just amazing too, because everyone had worked together for a gazillion years and went on to work together for what? It was like 15 seasons.
Yep. That's right.
Insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love meeting the fans of that show because I like when people are fans of good people. And that's what everyone was.
Aw.
Yeah, I was told people would either love my character or absolutely hate her. And so it was
Nice
a
to
lot
be
of,
told.
yeah, I was like, okay, cool, no pressure. But yeah, just because she was a representation of all.
So which was it?
What?
Love or hate you?
Thank God, love.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
Did you ever
least as
get
far
some
as I
hate
know.
from it? Like the people that hated your character? Was it like a little bit of both, or was it pretty much everyone loved you?
I've done some characters where people are like, what the hell, what are you doing?
Oh,
But
boy.
she's not one. Everyone seemed to respond, that I've met, responded really well.
Amazing.
No one's gonna say it to my face. I mean,
Right.
maybe. I
I
don't
know.
know.
They don't. They get
They
pretty.
say it to my
They say it to my DMs.
I believe it.
Have you ever DM somebody who's been in a show and they don't answer? There's a reason.
Yeah.
In general, it's not you, it's that you just don't respond to those things because
Yeah.
you get so many that they're like, you were a piece of shit. And you're like, thanks, cool.
Or they
Appreciate
talk
it.
to you like you are that character.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like you
also
have
weird.
to look the movie up, go to IMDb, find the actress, go to the Instagram, then write them, and you see that they have another life. We are not that person. I don't
Yeah.
understand it, but yeah,
So yeah, don't take it personally.
yeah, it's true.
So, do we have any audience questions at the moment?
Let's go.
Yeah.
What was it like playing Nosferatu?
So I play Nosferatu in SpongeBob.
I just learned that, by the way.
So cool.
So it's very cool. I like it very much. But it was a very short filming process.
Yeah.
Because, well, the makeup took 7 hours. The filming process took like 2 hours. Which was that I just went to Nickelodeon Studios and they put me in the makeup. And then we just went on a green screen and we took still photography.
Oh boy.
So it was just like 2 hours of me doing different poses and then taking photos, and then they just animate me out of the cartoon from there. So I shot that in, I think, 2017. Now, the very first time Nosferatu shows up in the show is not me.
Right.
They ripped that directly from the movie,
Yeah.
the original movie.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
For whatever reason, they wanted to bring the character back. For whatever reason, they couldn't do that again, so they then hired me to do that. So every subsequent time, it's been me. So now they're like, oh, we did another episode. I'm like, oh, cool. I only shot that one day.
Yeah.
And then they've just continued to use me forever.
Oh wow.
And then I just get checks in the mail. They're like, we used you again. I'm like, cool. Hell yeah.
You got paid for
But
it.
yeah, it's fun. It was really cool just being in that studio and like meet the creator of the show before he passed away, which was very nice. And like, it's a lovely experience. And then got a shout out randomly from Robert Eggers about bringing Nosferatu to the current children's zeitgeist, and I was like, cool, yeah, you're welcome, I guess. Like, it's just like a weird shout out to get.
Did you making any of the films? Doesn't have to be Annabelle. Were there? What was the most difficult sequence for either one of you to do? Whether it was physical or mental, or
I think it's
Katie, you go.
Wait,
You
gotta
go.
think. Okay, jeez. Oh Lord Almighty, I have two. There was one day on Annabelle Comes Home where I just had to be like haunted by my dead father the entire day, and so it was really like.
Oh boy.
I think I remember that day.
Yeah, it was mentally exhausting. I was like, I had a friend visit set, and I go, I can't. If you can come, but I'm not going to talk to you because
Yeah.
I can't break this. I'm crying all day long, every day.
boy.
It was brutal. It was really fun. It was a fun. I love emotionally taxing roles, and that was really great. But I would say one of the most challenging though is I did a Lifetime movie called Cleveland Abduction, and it was based on a true story of these three girls who were kidnapped in Ariel Casper's base set for 10 years. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and I played Gina De Jesus, and that was so challenging because I love challenging roles and I love acting, but you were telling something that this story actually happened to this person. So trying to connect to that in a really authentic way it's just hard on the heart and soul, but overall, really, it's such an honor to be a part of telling that story. Yeah, that's what I would say.
How did you prepare for that role?
God, how does one prepare for
Right.
that role? You research the heck out of it, and it's really hard, and you have to push through because there are points where you just want to stop reading about it.
It's a really rough story.
It really is, yeah. And so, I read Michelle Knight's book. I watched as many interviews as I could. There wasn't a lot on my character out there, or the person I was playing. Yeah. And so, I think just doing a lot of research into that, what victims of that kind of trauma go through, what their thought process might have been in the house. as much as you possibly can, diary entering as the character. But there were points where I definitely had to force myself to keep learning, just because it's hard to disconnect. Yeah.
Oh, difficult things that I've done.
Following up after that.
Yeah. Nothing I've done is that difficult. So, no, I think some of the most difficult things. The addiction, even in American Horror Story, was difficult because the makeup was the most invasive makeup I've ever done. In that I was simultaneously very naked and completely covered.
Oh, wow.
So it was such a weird, because like I had this in the design. Sorry for the graphicness of what I'm about to say. In the design, the skin was supposed to look like used condom. Is what it was supposed to look like.
Oh my god.
So I was covered in fake skin. So basically, they would slather me in skin tight, which is a silicone mixture, and then they would press this fake skin to me, and then just like crinkle it up because it would be kind of still loose a little bit. Like it was disgusting. And it was from like the tops of my feet all the way like over my whole body. But then other than that like fake sort of see-through milky skin, I had obviously the no face on, had a chest piece, and then I had sort of like a groin attachment that covered me, kind of. And then I was just in that all day. And it was just very much like I had a robe, but it didn't cover anything. It was weird. Like, it was just like me all day being like, and also being blind. You're vulnerable in that you are not clothed, but also you're vulnerable in that you can't see and can't talk. So I'm just kind of like, it was a very weird headspace to be in and just sit there all
Very
day.
vulnerable.
Yeah.
Some people pay a lot of money for that.
Yeah, I'm not one of those people. I get paid to do that. But that was difficult in that sense. But then when I was doing Salem's Lot, there was a difficult scene. Didn't end up being in the movie, but a difficult scene that we were shooting in the drive-in, and the kid playing Mark was running away from the projection booth, and you see me on top of the projection booth standing there as the light from the projection is hitting back at me, so I'm silhouetted against this projection. The way we were shooting it was a trick shot where my stunt double was on the roof and gets pulled up on wires to this crane, and then I'm already above shot, hanging from two cranes, and they drop me, so it's like I shoot up from the roof and then swoop down.
Whoa.
So, to get that, I had to be up on wires, upside down, just looking at the ground, about 50 feet in the air.
Oh.
So I'm just staring at the ground.
Wow.
And then they would drop me, and I would swoop down, and have to be, and then I would go up above camera, and then I would drop a little bit, and then it would catch me. Wow. Now, I had a event early in my career where a stunt went wrong and I was dropped on wires from about 20 feet in the air and slammed on the concrete.
God.
Ouch.
Luckily, I'm mostly okay. But that was I hadn't been on wires since then.
Oh man.
So I had to get on, and I was just like, they're gonna drop me and my face is gonna hit the ground and I'm gonna die. And so I was freaking out, and so that was difficult for me personally, just being up there.
Like, wow.
But then we did it a bunch of times, and eventually I was like, okay, I'm good, we got this, and that stunt team was much better than the previous one.
Clearly.
So we got that done, and that was fine. But that was probably like physically the most challenging because it was just so scary for me.
Wow. I don't blame you.
How long did that scene take to accomplish?
That whole scene at the drive-in was multiple days of shooting. It was like a full week of shooting.
Holy moly.
Because there were so many different things that and multiple times that movie. I spent 3 months in Massachusetts for that movie, and there were multiple different sections of time where we shot at the drive-in, but that particular scene was about a week of shooting.
Wow.
Very cool. Also, if you watch that movie and think there's a lot missing, there is. It got cut down a lot from what we wanted to put out. We had like about a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
And then Warner Brothers cut it down to like an hour 45. So there's a lot missing from that movie that we did shoot and want to put in the movies.
Yeah, well, the first remake with Rob Lowe was a miniseries because you can't make a Stephen King movie in an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't most of the time unless it's from a short story.
Yeah.
You can't.
Exactly.
And have it be semi-true. To the book.
Without taking
Right.
everything.
Exactly. And again, unless it's a short story, you can knock out the short stories in an hour and a half, 2 hours, easy. Okay, anyone else out there?
Let's go.
All right.
That was
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's do this. Sit back down, sir. All right, I will keep going. Let's talk about Annabelle, shall we?
Yes.
Let's talk. Annabelle, you got anything to share right now?
Wow.
She's like, I'm sitting on this microphone. It's kind of uncomfortable.
I don't know what you're trying to capture here.
What was your audition like for Annabelle?
I did not.
You did not offer only?
Kind of. I auditioned for something else for them
Okay.
previously, and then they called me. And they were like, you auditioned for that, you didn't get it. You want to do this one? I was like, sure.
Consolation
So
prize.
I auditioned for The Curse of La Llorona.
Oh, the Curse of La Llorona.
For the ghost.
Yeah.
For that. And then they went with a woman, which makes sense. Because it's a woman ghost. So, didn't get that part, which was fine. I was like, why am I auditioning for this? But then the effects house that did Annabelle and Conjuring and Insidious, thank you. Jesus. Did Insidious, and I work with them a lot. So they gave me a call and they're like, hey, we're doing this Annabelle movie. Like, we have a part for you, which ended up being 2 parts because I played the demon and the ferryman. And normally, for the first, I think, at least the first one, I don't remember if the demon was in 2, but Joe Bashara played the demon, who is the composer, and he also did the lipstick demon from Insidious. And he kind of didn't want to do that because that's not his job. And he's like, I don't want to go through makeup again. They were like, oh, we have a guy who does that. And I was like, yeah, me. And so I came in to do that, and I had never met Gary before. I never met you before. But then my first day on set, they had me shoot the behind the scenes talking about the movie. And I hadn't shot anything yet.
Oh boy.
So I made everything up.
Oh wow.
I talked about Gary like he was the best man I've ever met. I had never met him. Luckily, he's great and I love him and he's awesome.
Luckily,
But,
it was all true.
But I was just like, you want me to talk about the director? I haven't met him yet. Okay, let's
Make up
go.
like your favorite onset story.
I just made up a bunch of shit. I was like, yeah, this happened.
Oh, wow.
They were like, yeah, just do whatever. And I was like, why am I doing this my first day? But no, yeah, so I didn't technically audition, although I did audition for a different film that they liked for the same production company and they watched it. So that was how that went.
A fun fact about that, though, I remember, and this takes out to, well, I remember a lot of our conversations from that, and like you talking about kind of how you get into character and you find the movements of your character and things like that. I found so fascinating. But one of the things I remembered was because you did play 2 characters, you couldn't be, there was a scene where all the monsters come out, and you couldn't be in, what was it? It was like you couldn't be
I couldn't be in the
ferryman.
ferryman outfit
You
because I
couldn't
was
be in the
also in the
ferryman.
demon in the same scene.
And you were like, I remember you watching playback or something like that.
I gotta move like that.
That's not how I move.
Like,
And I was like,
Wow.
what? People just don't, you know, we talked about this too.
Yeah.
I mean, and some people really, really appreciate that, but I don't feel like there's enough appreciation of the art of being a creature. You know, it's so, it was so cool to see just how, like, precious you were about that.
so
and-
bad.
No, you were.
The guy was very nice.
You weren't being mean. You just.
It was
to
a
us.
guy who was my stand-in, very nice guy. But and so they put him in the costume for that scene, and I was just like, hey man, you gotta move like this, because it's me, and they're gonna think, okay, yeah, it's fine.
You're like, he doesn't move that fast. He takes.
Yeah, I was just like having a meltdown, but like privately to myself and to you.
But yeah, that was funny. Just like, yeah, you can't be in 2 places at once.
Yeah, it could be like. And then I did Westworld, and they made me be in a bunch of places at once. And I was like, it can be done.
Wow.
Yeah, movie magic.
What was your audition
Okay,
like?
so my audition process was, well, I had the initial audition, which was the scene where I see, obviously it's not actually my father, but the ghost of the demon, of my dead father. And so it was basically silent. It was me walking into the room, hearing something. I think I just say like, Dad, and I walk up, I see him, freak out and scream, which was great because I teach acting as well as like I used to work in a studio, and we would do an exercise that was identical to that, so I taught that for years. I was so prepped for this. You walk in, you see something, there's nothing actually there, but you pretend you do, then you scream, you're terrified, it's great. Then my chemistry read was interesting, so that was actually on the soundstage that we filmed at.
Oh.
Yeah, they were still like building the Warren's house up and everything, but for the most part it was pre-built. McKenna was there, Madison was there. I was the last one to be cast.
I wasn't there.
No, you weren't there. Not yet. And it was, oh my god, I remember McKenna was so adorable. She had like a dinosaur shirt and little denim overalls, which is so, if you know McKenna, it was so, yeah, so very her. But no, so there were four of us girls there, and you could hear everything from the previous people's auditions. I was one of the last ones to go. I hate that. I hate when you're in a casting room, you're in a casting office, and you hear the person auditioning, and you're trying so hard not to.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh god, and the whole scene, you're like screaming and yelling. So I plugged my ears as hard as I possibly could that entire time because I didn't want it to affect any of the decisions I was going to make and just not get in my head about it. But it was so much fun.
Yeah. McKenna was great. I love working with, I mean, you obviously, but also McKenna and Madison were both wonderful. And McKenna's so funny. She was like 12 during that movie?
I think, no, it was, maybe, yeah, that sounds right, actually.
It's weird.
I think she
She's
turned
now.
13
It's
now.
odd. But she got my number from production one night. And she just called me. And I didn't have her number, so like this random number calls me and I pick up and she goes, "Hello, Mr. Alex?" And I was like, "Hi, McKenna." And I I was at a bar. I was like, we got to talk later. I was like, I'll see you at work. We can't have this weird conversation right now. Goodbye.
She would just FaceTime the cast randomly.
She was so
It's
sweet.
lovely.
She was very nice. Like, she's wonderful.
Yeah.
Can we call you Mr. Alex from now on?
Sure. That's what she told me. Every day she'd be like, "Hi, Mr. Alex." And I was like, "Hi."
Yeah. But we all, it was fun. We all clicked really well.
Oh
that
man,
day,
because
so.
Madison posted that picture of me and her on the day that the movie came out, where we're hugging.
Yeah.
Me as the demon, and Warner Brothers got so mad at us.
Why? Wait, they did?
So she posted it, and I was like, "Oh, cool. She posted it. That means I can share it." Did, and then we both got calls being like, "You have to take that down."
Oh no.
Oh, was it because
Because-
it hadn't been enough time?
We hadn't been enough time, but also it showed us like me not being scary. Well, like, because I'm like hugging her and being very, and we're both smiling, and it's a wonderful picture, which has now become a meme, and it pops up all the time, and I'm just like, but yeah, they got real mad at us for posting that.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe it was like they needed it to
Yeah, it's
breathe,
fine.
let it breathe.
Yeah, I was
you
like,
know?
hey, she did it. I'm gonna blame it on her.
I mean, I would have done.
Yeah, I was probably gonna post something, and I was like, you took the fall for that.
Makes you scared.
Yeah.
Do you still teach acting, or are you more focused on working on in front of the camera stuff?
I do a little bit of everything. I've never stopped teaching acting. I have been assistant teaching for a gazillion years. Or, I mean, I started assistant teaching a gazillion years ago. And
You're
have
so
been teaching.
young, though.
I know. I've been doing it for, I've been doing it for a long time, pretty much as long as I've been acting. So I teach classes on Zoom. One of my students ended up being in a horror film with me. Crazy.
Very funny.
Yeah, they were asking for some recommendations for people. I didn't say it was a student. I just was pitching a few of my friends. I was like, no pressure, hire whoever you want to hire. And they were like, who's that girl? We love her. And I was like, trained her. No, she's great. She's now one of my best friends.
I feel like, of course you do.
That's
I'm in
I'm
charge
like,
of
do
that.
you? I didn't coach her on the audition or anything. It was great. But yeah, it's a passion of mine. But I write, produce, and act. All
So
at
if-
once.
If actors wanted to take advantage of your services, how would they find your classes?
So it's called Just Be Acting Studio, like just be in the moment. And so we have a website. I'm on Instagram. I think I have it like a link to it on my Instagram as well.
And you have cards at your table,
I
right?
do have cards on my table. But it's on Zoom every week, so anyone from anywhere in the world can take. We bring in like agents and things like that. Just because this industry can be kind of hard to get into.
Yeah.
No way.
No way, easy peasy. So I like to help people through some of, the navigating the industry, learning the mistakes that I made so that they don't make them, et cetera, et cetera.
Do you have a specialty that you like scene study or improv or?
I
Just
like
a
to
little bit of
mix it
everything.
up. I like to do a little bit of everything. So we do a lot of scene study, a lot of self-tape, a lot of drama, a lot of comedy. I like making sure that everyone is a well-rounded actor rather than really great at just this one thing. But yeah, so.
You'll be like me.
You said like me. But I love it. It's fun. We cover everything.
So, in filming at the Annabelles, what was one of your favorite memories on set?
If I'm not in it, then screw you.
No, actually, we were talking about this last night. It was very funny because there was the scene where you're staring at the TV and you're looking at deep and you're having your whole moment with the TV, and then McKenna comes running into the room, and then their original idea for the shot was that the camera's so tight on you, and then you see me step out from behind you and grab McKenna and leave frame. Like it was like I was supposed to kind of just like step out from behind your shadow and grab her and leave. And there's a unique phenomenon that you encounter when you play a lot of monsters and then you're in makeup all day and that's all people see you in. They tend to forget you're a human being. And they go, "You can do this, right?" And I'm like, "What, lift a full child up with just my shoulder and then walk her out of..." No, I can't do that. It was like they just wanted me to grab her and go. And I was like, I can't do that. I'm also a very skinny human being. I'm not like jacked to like pick up a whole child with just one arm. And so they were like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "What do you mean? What do you mean I can't do that? Like, what do you mean?" Like, it was very funny. But we worked it out and we had a good moment. But it was just a laugh of them being like, "Oh yeah, right. You're just a guy." And I'm like, "Yeah."
Well, when you put it like that.
I don't know why that reminded me of just practical effects, period. And I thought that was so much fun. Like, there was a scene where just a bunch of different things go off. And
Oh yeah, that was fun.
that was not the, I know what you're talking about, like the one where the whole room
Oh, yeah,
vibrates.
yeah.
That was nuts.
Yeah.
They literally had just little, I don't know the terms for them, but like little things that would make the things vibrate in the room, and just the whole room would shake. And that was terrifying because that actually shook. It wasn't, added in later. Most of the stuff was practical effects. But yeah, there was one point where like someone was on the ground with this clear string pulling the rocking chair. Whenever the door slams, they're like, "Door!" It's so unterrifying when you're looking, when you're actually filming it, to see a man like on the ground and I'm supposed to be scared of the rocking chair just magically rocking on its own.
Just a guy in there like.
Yeah, he's like on his belly. He's like, they're like, "Pull the chair." It's great. I love it. But my favorite, as much as it wasn't in the aftermath, one of my favorite moments was when it's the TV moment where my character gets smothered in blood. There's I'm just screaming into the TV and there's just blood everywhere. And so I was standing in a little kiddie pool and they just poured buckets of this fake blood on me, and God, it's so sticky and so cool, but it looked so cool. I was like, this is awesome. But yeah, no, I had to bathe in the trailer after, and it looked like a crime scene. We're just like, oh God, there's blood everywhere. Yeah, fun trick. Something that helps get fake blood out is shaving cream.
Yeah,
Crazy.
It's weird.
Crazy.
Whenever there was also I felt so bad. There was a with McKenna. There was a scene that we shot, and I felt so bad for her because. So it's the very end of the movie, and I pinned her against a bookcase, and I throw up a bunch of black stuff on her. But we shot that split screen, so when she's like, what you're seeing with her hitting her in the face is my arm holding her in the demon makeup, and then I'm standing to the side, and there's a hose about my mouth height, just spraying black goop at her. And we filmed it for so long that I'm like standing there just going like, "Is she okay?" It's just like hitting her in the face and just like spraying everywhere. And I'm just like, I'm holding onto her and I'm looking at everybody like, "Are we good? Like, can we stop? Like, she's gonna drown." And then we stopped and she's like, "That was amazing!" And she loved every minute of it. And I was just like, "Okay, glad you're okay. I didn't want to kill you." And then we did other half of the shot is her not there with me with the hose behind, like, and going out of my mouth. But like, it was just, I remember just holding her up and being like, "I hope you're okay."
She loved everything.
She was so enthused about everything we did.
What were some of the challenges of working? Okay, so what are some of the challenges and differences of working against a doll as opposed to a person?
She is heavy.
Yeah, she is.
My God. There was a scene where I had the fire alarm goes off, and it's like right when I've opened her case to put her back in her place. And so I'm holding her, and the fire alarm goes off, and I don't think this one ended up in the film, but like how we had shot it was her head slams against the glass, and they had to get the perfect angle. I swear I hit her head against the glass like 50 times, and I was praying, like, please don't haunt me for this. But it was she was so heavy. So for 50 takes, I'm just like,
Oh,
that
boy.
was great. Yeah, that, and you know, she gives a very just wooden performance. Much to play off of.
She doesn't look like she'd be that heavy.
This one's not. I don't know why she is when you're holding her with your arms stretched out like this the whole time.
Yeah, the actual doll we had on set was pretty heavy.
Yeah.
I didn't ever really have to deal with her, so that was your job. So
Yeah. Yeah. But and then people, it's great because you can work off with them. They give you
yeah,
something,
they give us something back.
something to read off.
Well, funny, most of the cast didn't see me as me for a long time.
Yeah.
And so I were actually talking about this last night. I was laughing because Madison one day comes up to me and she's like, "How old are you?" And then I was like, I think at the time I was like 28 or something like that. And she just goes like, "I thought you were 40."
Oh,
And I was like, "You've never seen my face. How would you know?"
oh my goodness.
You just have
Maturity level.
Yeah, a mature demon.
Ancient, you know?
There was a cool thing we did. I never worked directly with a doll. They were never in a scene with me because it's kind of like when I'm around, you don't really see the doll kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, working with everybody, working with another person is great, especially in makeup. And it's kind of it's a great partnership to work with someone when you're in makeup because they're seeing exactly what they're meant to be seeing. That is in the version. They're not looking at something in tennis ball that is CGI. They're looking at the creature or the monster or whatever it is they should be seeing within the scene. So it is giving them a lot, and the reaction I'm getting from them is the correct one for me to be acting like, which is part of what I love about what I do. There was a lovely moment when I was being the ferryman, which was such a cool creature. I didn't get to do as much with it as I wanted, but there was a moment where Madison's in the kitchen, it's dark, and a coin rolls out of the kitchen across the floor. And it's on the floor, she picks it up, and as she holds it up, then all of a sudden it becomes my eye.
Oh,
And it was a very cool shot that is 100% practical.
wow.
Accidentally.
Oh, wow.
So we were gonna have to clean it up in post and CGI the coin appearing and doing the whole thing. We shot one where she picks up the coin, and the way it was so dark that it's her picking up the coin in front of my head where I just had my head down, and you just can't see me. And then I pop my head up, and she drops the coin. And the way the camera was, I should hold the microphone. The way she was positioned with the camera, it fell directly behind her arm, so the coin just disappears. She fully does a magic trick in front of the camera. It falls behind her arm, and my eye just becomes the coin. And it worked so well that they didn't change any of it. It is exactly the one take we shot in the movie because it was just exactly perfect. And we know it was because when we shot it, from our perspective, it looked like it was supposed to, and we could see the coin fall and everything, but then Video Village just erupts and everybody goes, "Holy shit!" and just screams from Video Village, and we were like, "What happened?" Like, and then they came over and they're like, "It worked perfectly, we don't have to fix it!" Like, it was very cool.
That's amazing.
Like,
Save some money on the VFX
yeah, exactly.
budget.
Amazing.
So, Annie, what was it like working with humans?
It was great.
God, I hope she doesn't sound like that.
Yeah.
What would you imagine her voice would sound like?
I'm giving you 2 options. Hello, Mr. Alex. McKenna.
Yes. I don't know. Yeah, pretty much.
Got it. She'd be like, all of you can go to hell.
Yeah, it
Probably
probably
is a big one.
So
We'll get better.
what do you think is scarier, the actual Annabelle, Raggedy Ann type doll, or
100% the actual doll.
yeah.
Because the thing is like that, you look at that and you're like, I know what that is.
Yeah.
The Raggedy Ann, the actual doll is just a Raggedy Ann doll, and it could be any, like it's very much an unassuming
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
You know.
exactly.
Have you guys ever been to the Warren Museum?
No,
Oh,
I want to.
Yeah.
I met Judy
I
Warren.
want to go.
oh, that's right, you did.
Yeah, she's so cool. She's
I
really
didn't.
cool. She gave me a bracelet.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Was it haunted?
No. I think it was a protection bracelet. We're gonna go with that. Because I don't want it to be haunted.
Yes.
Filming the movies, was there actually any, because these are based off of like supposed like
Yeah.
real items, was there any moments at all during filming where you're like, we're actually creeped out?
Well, just being in the artifact room was really trippy. Like, just, I mean, even though it's fake, but everything. Dolls freak me out, period. So there was just a bunch of like little baby doll heads that
yeah.
were cracked, and just the head itself, and that is enough to give me nightmares. But there was one scene where Madison McKenna and I are running out of the room, and we shut the door, and there was a cross that was hanging on the door, and just Jesus, not the whole cross, flies off the cross, and that was pretty trippy. We were like, what? So I would say that was pretty creepy. Okay, so my thing was actually prior to filming. So I go through phases. Sometimes I'm like a little spiritual hippie fairy, and sometimes I'm like, I don't know what I believe. I grew up Catholic, so my family would hate this. But I was up for Annabelle, and I had heard about these intention candles that you can light for certain intentions. Yeah. So I got one, and it was, I don't know, it was like a success one, and me and my friends all did it for fun one night. We cleared the house. We looked like little witches walking around with sage. And I was like, my character would totally do this. I'm doing this. And so I did one for this. Maybe that's why I booked it. Maybe I suck, and it's just magic. But yeah, no, it was trippy. So you write down your intention, and then you light it with the candle. And everyone else's candle was fine, but mine, the whole rim of it, it's probably because of the oils, but whatever, we're gonna go with that. It was creepy. Was like lit. The whole rim of the candle was dancing in flames, and it was really terrifying. That was creepy. And then that night, I heard a giant boom, like something. It sounded like someone had a giant metal ball and dropped it from the ceiling in my apartment. Still to this day, don't know what that was, what could have made that sound. I tried to recreate it. I'm the type of person who also, as much as I love that stuff, will be like, there's gotta be some explanation for this, and I just don't know it. Maybe it's so I can sleep at night. But yeah, that was weird. So maybe it was Annabelle giving me the role.
I don't think I had any weird experience.
You were the creep.
Yeah, like it's like I also, if I did, I don't remember. There's a little disassociation that comes with being in a makeup for like 12 hours, or you're just sitting there like, I can't feel my face, or you fall asleep or something. Like it's just like it becomes like the whole time is like doing mental check-ins with like how my body's feeling, like what is happening, because it's so like is this a time where I can take 20 minutes to take stuff off so I can go to the bathroom, like things like that. It's all just kind of that. So you don't. I didn't notice anything. Like the house was wonderful because it was just creepy and cool. And they built the whole thing, and like it was great. And the artifact storage room was very cool and very creepy, and like. But I don't think I ever had anything that actually happened to me. I know people on the set were freaked out as we were shooting, but like I didn't experience anything.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I know it's boring.
To be fair, I don't know, just to comment, I don't even believe in that stuff, but like I think it's fun, like doing the whole witchcraft stuff, so I'm like, I don't know, hopefully nothing actually came in and possessed me there. But I do have one other side story. I did freak myself out when I was dressed as a demon, because I really had to pee. And I went into my dressing room, and I didn't shut the door, because I was like, I just had to go. And I look, the lights are off, and I look in the mirror, because for some reason there's a mirror right across from the toilet.
Always.
Yeah, right. And I see,
I don't know why.
Oh, no.
I know, like, what, you see why?
I don't know why.
And so I see this demon looking at me, and I swear to God, I was like,
Oh, wow.
hey.
Oh, wow.
That's me. It's fine.
Scared the piss right out
Oh
of
my
you.
God. Pun fully intended. Yes. It did. That was so terrifying.
It is
Yeah.
always weird that there's a mirror across from the toilet.
Why?
I don't know
It's
why.
a holdover from the 70s.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I was just thinking of that myself when I had that experience, and I'm like, I look like a troll. What the hell? I'm like, I don't want to see this.
Yeah, no one wants
No one needs to see this, let alone you.
just to humble yourself.
I,
is really what it's for.
I've burned through that so long ago. I just think to myself now, I go, yeah, that's what I look like.
We're doing this.
Yeah.
I look gross.
Any other audience questions out here?
Let's go.
Any in there? Any in there? Any in there?
Nothing up here.
All right. Well, going once, going twice.
So,
All right. I'll wrap us up then.
Thank
So.
you for joining.
You guys have done a lot in this industry, a lot of variety, a lot of interesting things. What is something in this industry that you haven't done yet that you would like to?
Well, as for, I mean, like I love all sorts of acting. I play a lot of monsters. I do. I mean, like I would love to do more non-monster stuff. I just don't get a lot of opportunities to do that right now. I will play monsters till the day I die, or my body doesn't work anymore. But I also like the other stuff, so I would love to do more of that in the future. But as far as creatures go, I would love to be a Cenobite.
Yes.
And while I was auditioning and up for Chatterer in the new, Hellraiser that they just did, I got Salem's Lot and did that instead. But like I want to be a Cenobite.
Amazing.
I have a couple things. Two very different things. One, I want to play someone who has DID, dissociative identity disorder. I don't know if anyone here has seen Sybil before. Okay, it's so good. Yeah, I think it would be the ultimate challenge as an actress to kind of flip back and forth between these different personalities in a real, authentic way. And then I also want to be a Disney princess. I think that would be so it's like two very different
Both
things.
in the same role. Let's go.
Disney princess.
Yeah.
Live action Disney princess or cartoon voiceover?
Live action. But I mean, voiceover would be cool too. But live action, let's be real.
What's your favorite Disney princess?
I don't know.
I think you would have made a better Snow White than the one that's currently playing.
Oh,
I didn't even audition for that. I was so
how dare!
mad.
You
I was
definitely
like,
could have been her though.
what? Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Definitely could have been Snow White.
Thank you.
For sure.
Thank you. In another
I could
dimension, I was. But yeah, no, I love Jasmine and I love Belle.
Jasmine.
I know she's great. Yeah, and then something I want to do that I will hopefully be doing soon is I want to be a creator for TV series and things like that. I just finished a whole pitch on a psychological thriller horror that deals with a lot of moral complexities, and it's very, very fun. It was such a challenge to do, but hopefully I can get that going and start working in that field as well. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for
Thank
coming
you.
out. Everyone, please. Thank you guys for being here.